Hi there, it's Nicole for STAMPtember at Simon Says Stamp, and today's card features the exclusive limited edition Altenew stamp set, Layered Flowers, which are all of these beautiful florals and leaves along this die cut rectangle panel. I did die cut this smooth white cardstock using one of the Simon Says Stamp stitched rectangle dies. And then I'm going to just mask off the sides and the bottom edges with some post-it tape. And I'm going to start layering the florals along the bottom of the card. And I'm going to work my way out from these first stamped images. The great thing about these layered florals is you can layer the ink one on top of another to get some really beautiful results. I used just a couple of the images for those leaves along the bottom. And then to build the flowers, there are several components. I'm using 3 here for this large floral and 3 colors of ink. All of the ink colors are from Simon Says Stamp. And then I added a little yellow there using the duckling ink, just for a little pop of additional color. I'm going to build another one of the large florals right next to this. All of the ink colors I am using are listed and linked below the video here. And I think the layering just adds these beautiful, realistic looking flowers. Very artistic looking and just beautiful. After I stamped these 2 larger florals and then those leaves along the bottom, which it looks, when you're doing or creating a card like this, I think it looks kind of messy or random until you get more of the design stamped. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the smaller floral now using the 3 components to build it, again with the same 3 colors of ink. And once you get all 3 of those stamped, the flower really comes to life. And I even think you don't have to line it up exact perfectly. It gives it more of that artistic look. But if you want to, I would recommend using something like a Stamp-a-majig or a stamp press, just to get the images stamped exact. I filled in there with some leaves as well as a little greenery there in the center. Layered the leaf stamps again, so two colors of green. And the design is really starting to take shape. I'm working my way out from where I started there with the original leaves and large floral. That way I make sure and leave myself plenty of room to build this design. I really want it to only be about the bottom half of the card and just work its way up just a little bit up the sides. It's going to frame up the greeting I'm going to stamp here in a second. Go ahead and stamp one of the small floral in that bottom right corner. Again, I'm going to build the design exactly like before, and then stamp with my lightest color last. I started with the darkest, the mid-tone, and then the lightest color. Added the greenery to the center. I'm going to go ahead and stamp another one here. Add some leaves first so that I make sure and leave enough room for those. Build this flower up the side. I'm actually going to do 2 more small flowers up this side of the card. And I didn't get this one lined up exactly right, but once I have everything else stamped, I think it looks okay. That's the great thing about these layered stamp sets. You can kind of fudge it just a little bit if you need to. Once you have all of the rest of the design stamped, I think it's much less noticeable. It will also help when I pull off this Post-it tape. You'll really see the design, and it has that nice crisp edge then, so it's not hanging off the edge, and I think it frames it up nicely. Gonna move my inks around and decide what I'm going to stamp next. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the greeting. I don't really want it covered up with too much of the colorful stamping. So before I go any further, I'm going to use this Altenew Sentiments and Quotes stamp set, and I use the greeting, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." I just love that greeting, and I stamped that with some crisp black Simon Says stamp ink. I pulled off that bottom mask so you can see that nice edge along the bottom, and it looks really nice. And then before I pull off the sides, I'm going to go ahead and stamp just a little bit more, add some greenery. Go ahead and add that layer on top, kind of an outline. Gives it that nice two-tone look. I'll peel off that mask as well. By stamping the greeting before I finished the florals, it allowed me to make sure that I don't stamp over that area, and it makes the greeting more prominent, I think. You want to be able to read the greeting really well, since that is the focal point of the card. Go ahead and stamp my remaining 2 florals along each side. Add my mid-tone color to each. I'm going to make sure I get these lined up really well. And then I'll go back in with my the largest stamp and my lightest color. And that adds just a nice pop of color. The florals frame up the greeting really nicely. I'll finish with a few additional stamped greenery pieces, the little inside green pieces for these florals. And then the floral along the left side it just is missing a little something near the base of the flower, so I'm going to use one of the smaller stamps from the Layered Flowers stamp set to fill in there once I get all of the layering done on all the leaves that I've stamped along the right side of this panel. And I'm cleaning off my stamps as I go and placing them back on my clear stamp sheet, just cleaning them off using the stamp scrubber pad. And then I'll find a little stamp piece and stamp that right underneath to fill in a bit. I'm going to take the Wink of Stella clear glitter brush marker and go over all of the flowers to give them a little touch of glitz and glimmer. Because this is a fairly flat, one-dimensional style card, this is a panel and I am going to adhere it with foam adhesive, but there's not a ton of layering here. I like to add a few additional elements, so I did color over the florals with the Wink of Stella clear pen, and then I added some clear, Pretty Pink Posh sparkling clear sequins. I placed foam adhesive on the back of the panel, and then I'll attach that to a side fold Simon Says stamp note card, and my card is all finished. Thanks for watching this video showcasing the new Altenew Layered Flowers card from stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. The supplies I've used are listed and linked below the video on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.